Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Wowhead Weekly episode 32, I think we're on. This week, we're going to have all sorts of stuff to talk about coming up with patch 6.2 and the like. First, a quick word from Full Sail University, who is sponsoring today's episode.
I was 5 when I ruled my first kingdom, and spent years defending it with honor. Opponents would challenge me, but fall in defeat. I've created legends while upholding the hero's code. I've always taken games seriously. Now, I'm learning to create them.
Full Sail University. Your campus is everywhere.
And thank you so much to Full Sail University. To learn more about that, you can check out fullsail.edu/wowweekly. And before we get into the actual podcast, I want to introduce my lovely co-host, Wowhead Site Manager, Perculia.
Hey everyone! So looking forward to talking about all of the exciting 6.2 stuff. And yeah, let's get started with this.
Well, there is a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Of course, the WoW token finally debuted on European servers, and the starting price was a little bit higher than US servers. It was 35,000 gold, so that was nuts. Yeah. And we have the... Yeah.
I was super surprised what was going to happen with it.
I was not expecting it because, I mean, we saw all the prices on the US servers and they kind of went down, and it's been peaking at right about, not peaking, but plateauing right about like 22K. And we saw it hit, 45,000 gold on the very first day. Check this out. Bam.
Yeah,
look at that.
That was like over twice the price of what it was on US servers at the time, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah, this is comparing the past 3 days next to each other, and it's literally, I mean, it's a solid like 35% higher the entire time, which is kind of crazy because I was not expecting it. I don't know, I just thought they would be about the same. I didn't think that there would be much of a variation at all.
Yeah, I thought it would be higher because it started higher, but that it wouldn't be... I did not think it was going to go up 10,000 gold in the first day. I mean, US went up to, I think, 31K in the first day. I was like, oh wow, that tiny gain.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's really the least of what we have to talk about today. This week was a crazy week. Even with all of the updates that we got last week for 6.2, we got even more this week, including some amazing vanity items. Like, for a second, we just need to talk about Pepe's vanity costumes. Now, we all love Pepe. He's a little bird. You can put him on his head. If you do all of the achievements, you get the trans-dimensional bird whistle, which will let you put Pepe on your head at any time. And in 6.2, he is getting his very own set of disguises. He has the Viking, the pirate, the ninja, and the night hat. And Perk and I were talking, and isn't it kind of funny that we were just talking last week about how we wanted the Perky Pug? Like, he was the only one that had stuff, and now Pepe has stuff too.
Yeah, I'm very happy that they're spreading the love, and I do not know how you can get the disguises yet, but I will definitely be grabbing them and probably getting Noxie to do art of all those disguises as well. I know. She'll be so sad I'm assigning that to her.
A lot of people think that the way that the tooltips are worded, and this is of course just speculation, that it might only be costumes for the permanent Pepe. Like if you have the bird whistle, not just the one that's in your garrison. I don't know how true that is, but... if that's the case, I really need to work on that achievement.
Yeah, I think the tooltips make it seem that it won't be 100% thing, but it has a chance to appear. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how that's going to work, because it'd be bad if you bought this consumable and then it didn't give you disguise.
That would be I would not be happy about that at all. But let's talk about the thing that everybody is most happy for this week, and that is, bam, Left Shark. And for those of you guys who don't know what the heck Left Shark is, this year at the Super Bowl, Katy Perry had these really weird dancing sharks that were her backup dancers, and the right shark was on point. He knew all the dance moves, but Left Shark was in a league of his own dance moves.
Yeah.
And
he was so cute.
He's so cute. So I think it's adorable that they're putting that in game. And actually, if you look, some of his abilities actually have to do with dancing. There's the dazzling dance and the rain dance, and I think that's adorable. I just think that's really, really cute.
Yeah, and the description is cute too, because they're trying not to reference the Super Bowl, because they're like, oh, the Iron Horde left this shark behind. Like, oh, come on, it's a dancing shark.
We know where you're going with this. Yeah. So that's pretty great. And then why don't you talk a little bit about Crusher? Because I didn't happen to see this tweet, So there's this other data mine pet, Crusher, and at first glance, it just looks like a Goron pet, nothing special.
But if you dig in deeper, it's actually a tribute to a child who dressed up as a Blizzard dev for his career day, and as a dev designed this battle pet, and then tweeted Blizzard Careers about it, and it was super cute, so they put the pet in the game, and I just think that's really adorable and, really inspiring.
That's adorable. That's pretty adorable. That I don't, I always hear about kids having a career day, and I don't think I ever had one when I was in school.
No, I didn't either.
But, like, who knows what that's great. That kid is onto something, and I like it. I wonder how you get it. I can't wait. I'll get it.
Yeah, the kid, or if his parents play WoW, they should definitely get pressure. And
that's so great. And then one of the coolest toys coming this next patch is called the. Is it pronounced Brazier? Is that wrong? Brazier.
I think Brazier Awakening, or
I tried.
Utility Mass Res.
Utility Mass Res. It's super cool. It's an item that you put down, and it will actually res a player after you wipe. So it's pretty fancy. Now, does it res everybody, or does it just res one person?
I think it's just one person, but I mean, that's pretty good. Like, that person can res other people.
Yeah, even if mass res isn't on cooldown, it's still nice to not have to worry about, like, oh my gosh, vanish, or, Or if
you're soloing something and you don't want to run back, you're just doing boss.
Yeah, that's pretty great. I wonder how you get that. Garrison mission, maybe?
Maybe something in Tanan. I don't think it's an official toy because it has, I guess, combat utility, but... Tanan has lots of treasures being added, and I need to do some exploring and see how you get them, but I bet it's from Tanan.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think that's a really cool, I don't know, that's just a really useful toy in general. I mean, it's not a toy. It's probably, like you said, going to be in your inventory, but definitely useful. But there are a couple other toys coming in 6.2 as well. There's the Personal Spotlight toy, which, of course, puts a spotlight on your person. And then there's the Dazzling Rod Laser toy from Tanan Jungle, and I believe you can only laser other people with that toy, correct? You, laser each other?
You get this, temporary wand, and then you can fight other people that have it. So there's a treasure somewhere in Tanan. If you see it, do let us know and post screenshots or video of all of you guys playing laser tag with it.
That's a
But yeah, I will be very curious to see that in action. It kind of reminds me of the foam sword racks. How if someone placed it down and if you looted a sword, everyone could fight with the sword in between wipes and have fun with that.
Oh yeah, that's fun. I thought of it more as the jewel crafting item. Remember there was the little trinket where you could focus on someone and it just put a laser beam to them? Yeah, that's what I kind of pictured when I heard about it, but you're right, it's probably much more similar to the foam sword rack where it'll be a fun toy in between wipes and stuff, or while you're waiting to summon. But there's more than just silly stuff in patch 6.2, unfortunately. Finally, in 6.2, Jewel Crafters will be getting epic gems, and they are plus 75 to stat, and they'll be from quests in the Tanan Jungle. And then, of course, there's also new crafted items, which I'll flip over to Perk, and she'll talk a little bit about.
Yeah, I was very surprised to see that there were two tiers of crafted items. I just was thinking there would be one tier because we're only getting this one raid. But the, I guess, stage 5 is called Mighty, and that gives you 690 weapons and 700 armor. And then the next tier is Savage, which is eye level 700 weapons and 715 armor.
Yeah,
I think they maybe got the eye level slightly wrong.
Yeah,
but
no,
I believe
I think you were right. And then they also, all the recipes are from Garrison Traders, the way that the food was in 6.1.
Right, so, or the other upgrade items, I believe it's from the guys that show up in your daily,
the ore trader and stuff?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, if you got your upgrade items or your cooldown items in 6.1, I think those guys are going to have even more stuff for you in 6.2.
Yeah, that's cool. I've gotten a lot of use out of those, as I'm sure a lot of other people have. And what's really useful is that Wowhead actually has a thing. I use it every single day. This isn't even me oh, Wowhead's awesome. But really, though, I use it every day because there's right on the Today in Draenor section, it says whether the ore or the herb trader or the dust trader is spawned in it. It's very useful. Let me tell you what. But there's also some more stuff coming profession-wise in 6.2. Our beloved Savage Bloods will be completely null and void. There'll be a new material called Fell Blood, and you'll use that for everything, correct?
Yeah, just for the 6.2 stuff. So, I mean, you can make the not exciting stuff with Savage Blood.
Yeah.
But why would you want to make that?
And then, now, is there any more information about the catch-up mechanism that will help you catch up on reagents, or?
All we know right now is that your daily profession cooldown will give you more reagents, and that the earlier recipes will have their amounts of materials needed reduced, but I don't think we've seen any hard data on what exactly is happening to that right now.
Gotcha.
There was this other, it's worded a little confusing in the patch notes, that for the stage 1 to 4 items, you still need to upgrade them in these increments of 15 item levels, but basically you take the cheapest upgrade item and you repeatedly apply it to the item, as opposed to having to make, the cheap one and then
the
medium one and the hard one. Yeah.
Okay. Because that would be nice too, because it's a little bit cheaper as well.
Yeah, and apparently if you have the, expensive ones lying around, they become unstable or something weird lore sounding. And
dear.
They turn it. Yeah. So I would not craft. Yeah, don't craft a bunch of these things. I think that they're not going to be worth it. You're wasting materials.
Yeah, for sure.
Things.
So, and I was just talking a little bit about what, the Today in Draenor section, but there's actually a lot more going on Wowhead other than just Today in Draenor. In fact, one of the newest features on the site, I'm going to flip to a slide so that you can see it in action, is being able to sort transmog sets by both gender and class. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Basically, the Transmog Set Database is a really cool feature on Wowhead. It's entirely made by the staff. We put together manually all the sets that match in the game, so tracking down what weird belt from one expansion matches a robe in another. And one of the most requested things was that people wanted to see different models. They're like, oh, it's great that we can see them, but things look really different on a Draenei male than a human female. Can we have the preview images reflect that? So we finally did that, and you can reach the Transmog Set Database if you go to the database menu at the top left of the page and go down to the Transmog Set option, or wowhead.com/transmog-sets.
Yeah.
And you just browse, and there's this option right above the images on the right-hand side, and you just select the race and the gender you want, and then all the images will automatically change to that, which I am super excited it's finally live.
Yeah, and it's cool because like you're seeing on the screen, it changes both on all of the previews, but then if you click on a transmog you can then change what your race and gender are once you're in there as well. So I like that you can change it in both places like that. But it's definitely a really, really cool feature, and I don't know. I didn't really fully understand it when I read it, but then when I was going through and seeing what it was, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so great. As someone who does a lot of transmog stuff, I think that's a super, super cool feature to have, and it's so easy to use, and it loads super fast. I'm a big fan. And then I was talking a little bit about Today in Draenor earlier, and like we said, the Today in Draenor tracks what type of trader is in your garrison. It tracks, what else does it track? It tracks whether the pet battle quest guy.
Yeah, so the menagerie guy, the critters in Draenor, and it also now tracks the trading post work orders.
Yep.
So you can both be like, oh, I need a lot of this item to get resources, and oh, this NPC is up, and this is the one that has the good deal on Frostweed, so I'm going to log in and do that little shuffle on those things.
Yeah, and then it's got another section, too, that shows you popular pages, which is kind of cool, because you guys update, is that updated every day or every week?
Every week.
Every week, and as of this week, the Left Shark is the most popular PTR searched page, right? Not just item, page in general. People are all about the Left Shark.
It's winning the PTR.
It's winning the PTR. And that was just announced 2 days ago. So that's pretty awesome. And then the selfie cam recently got trumped by Fandrel's Seed Pouch as the most popular toy. And the Relic Master Hunter has replaced the Noble Garden achievement. And, well, people are still really interested in the Steam Weedle Cartel Rep and the Void Talon. Oh gosh, it's called more than just Void Talon.
Void Talon of the Dark Star.
That's what it's called, Void Talon of the Dark Star. And that's that mount that you have to search for and open portals, and I haven't seen anybody with it yet. I mean, I know they exist, but I haven't seen it in game personally.
Yeah, I mean, I just see people that you always see standing in those locations in Storm Shield just showing it off, but I haven't found it yet.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I haven't been to Orgrimmar in this I always stay in my garrison. I'm just always in my garrison. I have a bank in my garrison, and then I have a tune that I use for all of my auction house stuff, but she's not even in Orgrimmar. She's in like a really obsolete like place in Silvermoon City. So I guess I don't interact with anybody, so I'm a bad example of things like that. Ooh, this is exciting. So there's, of course, with 6.2, there's a bunch of new gear coming. There's tier 18, and then there's the new PvP models. What are they called?
They are Wild and Warmongering Gladiator.
Yeah, Wild and Warmongering Gladiator. And I made a whole slideshow of Tier 18 if you're interested in checking it out. And then me and Perk will tell you a little bit more about our favorite ones. But check this out.
It's so cool.
I know. So this is the Druid. The Druid gear looks awesome. I like the helmet. I always like Druid gear.
I like the themes they're going with the sets, how the mythic ones look really corrupted and weird and spooky. And
yeah, they didn't. The mythic preview for Hunters wasn't up yet, so I just showed the heroic Hunter. But I bet it's going to be epic. Hunters usually get pretty good gears too. This is the mage one. This is a good one. We both
like this one. Yeah,
it looks super cool. Mages always get good gear though too. It's always so pretty and regal and.
I think it's because they've got the 3 different magic schools they can play with. So you've got like arcane magic, then you've got fire orange and frosted's blue. So they can always do cool things with spell effects with that.
I really like the helmet for the monk in tier 18 as well.
Yeah.
The little swirly rune thing on his head. I don't know. I'm a sucker for stuff like that.
The paladin shoulders are really cool in model viewer.
The helmet it looks very paladin. Yeah. It's a little dark, but it still definitely has a distinctly paladin look to it. I really like it.
Yeah, I kind of like that edge. Like, it's not all goody two-shoes, light.
And the priest gear is awesome. Although when I opened it up, I was surprised because the wings are actually mounted on the front of the shoulders, not the back.
Yeah, maybe still a work in progress, but yeah, I love
the animations were working pretty good. But I love them as well. I would play a priest just for the transmog.
Yeah. If you zoom into the shoulders, I think you can see a weapon on one and a person on the other. There's like really great attention to detail on them.
They're really neat. I like how the mythic ones look all like decrepit and like you said, all like almost like Shah infested or something.
Exactly.
It's neat.
I wonder, will the Shah be in Draenor?
The Shah of Garage. This is the shaman one. As a shaman, I must say I'm a little disappointed. I don't see shaman when I see this. I just don't see shaman. I feel like that almost looks like Death Knight gear.
Yeah, maybe it's a work in progress. The rogue ones all feel very, like, I don't know, too dark and bulky for me. So.
I like the warlock ones a lot. I always
I like the little like crown of thorns.
That's spinning. So cool.
Yeah, I want a warlock for that. I would just love the crown without the face stuff, but I think the robe is cool and like the belt's cool and just like the skull theme and the stripes. I like that.
And I'm not sure which model of this is for the Death Knight one, but I thought the Death Knight one looked pretty cloth for being like a plate set. It looked pretty cloth. But let me go ahead and I'm going to show you what was Perk's favorite gear.
Yep, my favorite character model.
This is and this is actually one of the PvP versions. As you can see, it's a different color than tier 18 because the PvP and PvE gear are recolors of very similar gear. But the red one's awesome. I don't blame you. And then my favorite, like I said earlier, was the Warlock gear. I just think it's cool. I just think it's awesome. I like all the bones and the arms sticking out, and I don't know. It just looks scary. I wouldn't want to fight that guy. Whose arms are those? Who did he murder to get those arms? I don't want to know. Yeah. I don't even want to know. But we're really excited to show you all the gear, and there's a lot of like transmog opportunities, of course. And remember, if you don't like the look of stuff, you can always transmog out of it as well.
Just a quick refresher on what the gear actually is. Yeah. So like LFR will look like honor gear. Your normal and heroic will look like regular conquest gear, and then the mythic gear will look like glorious conquest gear. And if you weren't really playing at the start of Warlords and you remembered past expansions, this is different than the past where like PvE and PvP look completely different. They want the top tier, raiders and PvPers to have a similar look because
you want to be able to identify them quickly. Awesome. You want to just be able to look at someone and be like, oh, they're awesome. I get it. Exactly. I see what you're putting down there. And these are going to be from Hellfire Citadel And the eye levels are, I didn't write
It's
them down.
725 mythic. So I mean, it's subject to
725
change at this point, but you know, it's an upgrade from tier 17.
For sure, because current mythic is what, 700?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a couple pieces, but they're from garrison missions. Don't let me come across as bragging. So we, if you want to check out more of that, of course, we've got all of the gear at wowhead.com, and you can see it in the model viewer. You can turn it around, and if you double-click the model viewer, it'll go full screen. That is something I learned today.
We should highlight that better on the site.
No, it's I should have tried. I don't even know. I Skyped Perk and was like, "Oh my gosh, if you double click, it goes full screen." She's like, "I know, I am aware." And then, of course, the thing that pretty much everybody is most excited for, or I am most excited for at least, is the Shipyard. All sorts of stuff coming in the Shipyard. Lots of new ships named after famous lore figures. So, did you go through some of those when you were doing all your data minings and whatnot?
Yeah, I was super excited because they were very boring last PTR build, and now they're all like, I've named it for like Varian and like Spirit of Aberdeen, and I was like, oh, my goodness. And just, you know, every major character, there was one named after Chen's brew, which I found hilarious. Like, a ship is this like inebriated vessel. But yeah, like everyone seemed to get one or two ships, and they came with a racial trait that was like, oh, you have a night elf crew on your ship. Like, this gives you a success chance. So that's kind of a clever way of doing it. I think it gives the ships more personality. And yeah, some of them I'm a little, like, Maiev is an alliance character, and I'm like, shouldn't she be neutral?
Yeah, some of the ones that were Horde or Alliance were a little bit strange. Like, Valera's was Horde, and she's not really aligned with the Horde, correct?
Yeah, I mean, she showed up at Wrathgate for the Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
So even if maybe she went to the Horde in some novel, but if you're just playing WoW, it's a little unclear.
Yeah.
If you're playing Hearthstone, she's just like a figure. She's the rogue hero. Exactly.
And then now the ships, I was going to make you guys a slideshow so you could see all the different ships, but as of right now, I'm not sure if they're placeholder ships or if they're just going to be a lot of really similar ships, but that was what it was, is like all of the carriers kind of had the same model, and all of the big, like, glorious ships kind of had the same model, which we showed last week. And there are legendary ship missions, right?
Yeah, that was very cool to see. The legendary quest line we reported on last week had these two quests to do a Farallon mission and an Ogre Sunken Fleet mission, and now we actually had the legendary missions pop up in the database. So, you know, obviously they have a lot of counters and naval threats that have to be dealt with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're doing the legendary quest line, you need your shipyard, and you need to have some pretty good ships to do that.
Yeah, and you know what else is cool is right now, of course, we have the High Maw and the Blackrock Foundry. You can get the spoils from your garrison missions, but in 6.2 you'll be able to get Hellfire Citadel missions, but they'll be from Shipyard caches. So if you want that, like, bonus gear, you have to have your Shipyard all built up and your followers all geared up. So I think that's interesting, because when 6.1 rolled around, which is, I believe, when you could start actually getting the caches. They didn't come out with the raid, yeah. By the time 6.1 rolled around, like, there wasn't really much of a struggle to get those, because everybody had just kind of stockpiled all of the items to upgrade their followers. So it's going to be kind of exciting, actually really, like, delving into the Shipyard and having such a cool reward come out of it. So
yeah, I wonder, like, is this it with followers? Are they the old part of the mini game, or will it be actually playing a role in 6.2?
Oh, don't say
like,
that.
they're just gonna be at like 675. Yeah, I like them too. I have my little army of Night Elves and Draenei, and I'm really excited if I pick one that's named after someone that I know that's a tribute. But yeah, I'm just confused if
I've been getting all of the ones with Scavenger, or not Scavenger, Treasure Hunter.
Oh, that's so good.
So that I can get all the gold. Like, for a while, my strategy was get all new Epic Mount ones so that I could do all my missions really fast. And now I'm going for all Treasure Hunters so that I can just stockpile gold by doing nothing. It's my favorite thing. And then, aside from the Hellfire Citadel loot, you can also get 640 loot, just like you can get now, like, where you click on it and it'll give you a piece of gear appropriate for your spec. That will be eye level 640 from the Shipyard.
Yeah, and so far the tokens are marked as bind on account, so that seems pretty good for alts, and that could be another kind of mechanism.
That would be super nice, because I throw away all that gear right now.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be pretty advanced to have this shipyard unlocked, and if you're a fresh 100, you're not going to have your 5,000 resources to get to the shipyard, but it's really great for alts that aren't doing a ton of garrison missions and, raiding and all that good stuff.
Yeah, even like you have to have all of the garrison quests done, all of the garrison storyline quests to unlock the shipyard, right?
I mean, that's how they've been phrasing it. I think that's when it's... Yeah, I mean, they're like, the garrison campaign continues in 6.2. Yeah. So I did them really quickly. So
yeah, well, I did not do them on my alts. I was very lazy. Now we were just talking a little bit about legendaries, and of course the legendary ring kind of like your ring will become legendary in 6.2. But you wrote down some really interesting stuff in these notes about the ring being upgraded. So I'm going to toss it over to you so you can talk a little bit about that.
Cool. So there's this spell called Power Infusion, and the tooltip is something to the effect that you can upgrade your ring up to item level 795, that's a pretty big boost. That's a 60 item level boost from the starting point of the legendary ring, which is 735. Mm-hmm. And we looked at it more in depth because I went to the developers and I'm like, hey, we need to show the 795 option somewhere on the page. And they're like, actually, there's like so many variations for this ring, and it turns out that there are different variations of the ring for every 3 item levels. So there is like a 735 version, a 738 version, a 741 version,
wow.
and the stats are upgraded as well as the potency of the procs.
Wow.
So right now it's pretty insane at 795, and my theory is that if the expansion is long towards the end, maybe something you could do is slowly upgrade your ring as time goes on. And if you're really diligent about doing stuff every week, maybe you could cap out at 795. And if you do it here and there, your ring could be somewhere in the middle.
That's a really interesting, especially considering that right now, the way it's been, last expansion, this expansion, is that really even more casual players can get the legendary ring since there are mechanics to get it through LFR and stuff. So I think that's really interesting that they're still kind of like they're doing with the tier 18 gear and the really high-end PvP gear, where they want people to immediately be able to be noticeable as visibly hardcore players. I think it's really interesting that they might be adding some sort of mechanic like that to the ring, or some sort of slowing mechanism where just because it's legendary doesn't mean that's the end of the ring.
Yeah, I like it to be like, I put more effort into this and my ring ends up better. I think that could be kind of cool, and they are pretty intense procs at 795. It's like increases this by 44%, so I imagine that whatever you have to do will take a lot of work.
Yeah, especially since it upgrades so slowly. Like, that's a real grind at 3 levels per. And it's not going to, I guarantee it's not going to be go farm frogs on the Timeless Isle.
Go kill orcs in Tanan.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be harder than that. Like you said, if the procs are getting so much better. And yes, everybody watching, have calmed down about the Legendary Ring since last week. So, well, that's exciting to hear that it's going to upgrade in what sounds like a way that maybe we haven't seen in World of Warcraft quite yet. 3 levels at a time for 60 total levels is a lot.
Yeah, so, I mean, it could also be that Blizzard is doing strange things with their data behind the scenes, but it looks like, I mean, between the wording on the spell being like, you can upgrade it up to 795, it doesn't sound like you'll just get, bam, 60 item levels in patch 6.3.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's intended to be incremental, but cool. We'll definitely keep looking for any quests we can data mine if anything's called, upgrade legendary or something sneaky.
If we see anything about Gul'dan, we'll let you know.
Exactly.
And of course, you're going to want your legendary ring and all of the things that we've been talking about earlier, because tier 18, that new raid, Hellfire Citadel, is out, and raid testing has actually started.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. It's super fast.
Yeah. Everything has been super fast. It was like, we know nothing about a patch. Here's all the patch notes. A week later, 7 heroic bosses have already been tested.
Yeah, I think the 7th one is being tested right now. When I last checked Twitter, the Tyrant was being tested. So, yeah, that's super fast. The Wowhead raid guide writer Diani is in there testing everything so she can have all the strategies ready when 6.2 goes live.
That's such a nice resource to have.
I know. I hope it's not too fast for her, but I'm sure everyone is scrambling, raid is guide writer.
That's crazy, though. I mean, it's a huge raid. It's 13 bosses, but if they're at boss 7, they're halfway through it already.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to do it on Mythic as well, and then, test LFR, but I remember, beta was so drawn out, and it's just like, bam, all your item sets, like, all your raid testing, like, everything is fairly polished, so.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool. And then the Dungeon Journal is getting updated as well, right? It's getting turned into the Adventure Guide.
Yeah, so there's two things. So the Adventure Guide is a brief note what the Adventure Guide does. It's meant to hint at different things your player can do in-game, like, hey, your item level's at this point, you should try out this raid. Or if you're level 70, it will tell you a dungeon that has a good piece of gear for you. So that's sort of being integrated into the Dungeon Journal. If you click on something, like read more about Hellfire, it will queue you up, and then you can actually read the Dungeon Journal about Hellfire. So that's pretty cool. And it's similar to the planner tool we have on Wowhead that decides what guides you should do based on the achievements you have.
Yeah.
So maybe we can do even more integration with that. I have some ideas with that.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm excited about that because I already am a person that uses the Dungeon Journal every day. Like, I know that not everybody does, but I still, to this, I have no idea what boss drops or what loot. Every single time. And I'm at the point where I don't think I've bonus rolled on anything in weeks unless I'm just bonus rolling for tier to possibly get Warforged or a socket. But I still check every single time the Dungeon Journal to see what type of gear is dropping. So anything to expand that is always going to be interesting for me. And then they've revealed a few of the tier 18 set bonuses.
Yeah, we've got even more. So we've got some of the Death Knight ones, some of the Druid ones, which I think sound very cool because a fairy dragon is involved, and some of the Hunter ones.
So, and that about wraps up what we had planned to talk about for 6.2, but I need to voice my outrage because, bam, the Warcraft movie got delayed again. It has been delayed now. I think this is the 4th delay. Apparently this time it's because the people at Legendary Pictures thought that it would do better as a summer release as opposed to a spring release, which I can kind of understand, but
yeah, like Oscar season, like I don't yeah.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. They finally announced like so many things, like, cast members and who's going to be playing who, and it's just going to be so interesting because it's going to be very almost like Avatar in the sense of like CG blended with live action, and I'm so excited.
I like the preview at BlizzCon, just being able to see the weapons and how in depth they were.
They're huge. The Orc ones are huge, and the way they did it, I did a ton of research on this, and the way that they did the weapons and the armor for all the CG characters is they had these like top of the line costume designers come in and build. I mean, you saw them at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
They made all the weapons and all the armors, and then they scanned them into a computer, and then they dressed the CG models using the actual armor that they built. How cool is that?
That is like such a labor of love. And I love how some of the actors are like really into WoW. Like I think Rob Kaczynski
plays a lot of WoW.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I have this Death Knight. I was one of the good ones and the good one.
Yeah, he's got a year and a half played, and that's like as of last year.
Wow.
Yeah, nerd.
That's awesome.
The guy who's doing all the CG too, he did the Life of Pi, and he did the Golden Compass, and he actually has been playing World of Warcraft since Alpha.
Wow.
So there's a lot of people who are in the movie and involved in the movie who have been playing the game, and this is really something that means something to them. I'm just really excited because I know originally when Sam Raimi was being talked about to possibly direct it, it was a very Alliance-centric script, which is okay. This is not me like hating on the Alliance, but when Duncan Jones took over the movie, he rewrote the script with like Chris Metzen and some other people from Blizzard, and it's actually very two-sided now. Like he thinks it's going to be a very groundbreaking thing to tell a story of war from both sides equally. So that there is no good and bad. It's just one side and the other, which I think is a very interesting way to portray a movie. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I mean, especially because people that only play one faction in WoW don't always get the full story, and you can feel like your faction is the right one, and it can be a little cartoonish in games sometimes, so it's nice to, be able to see both sides getting equal spotlight and
and
try out the other
being
factor.
portrayed, there's going to be good and bad on both sides for sure. And I really love the timing too, because with Warlords of Draenor we're meeting a lot of the heroes that are going to be in the Warcraft movie, like Duratan, and it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. I'm not excited that I have to wait longer. It's coming out right now, June 10th, 2016. I believe it was originally slated for like March 26th off the top of my head. 2016.
Yeah, I think, sometime in March.
So it didn't get pushed back too far, but my
Yeah.
birthday's June 7th. Now it's after my birthday.
So, yeah, I have been asking people for 6.2 questions, and I've had lots of people retweeting it, but I actually have not gotten any questions. And I'm sure people have them. I guess I can reiterate the one question we got before, which was about oil. And oil is used for your shipyard to build ships, to do naval missions, but...
Yeah, in a similar way to garrison resources, right?
Yeah, we're not really sure all the ways you can get it yet, but oil, you don't do all your ship things with garrison resources, and we think it's from Tanan Jungle because it would make sense how, like, Timeless coins are from the Timeless Isle at the end, but we don't exactly know how, and I'm sure as soon as we do, we'll write all that up and
I did get a question on my Twitter that says, do you guys feel that 6.2 will be based on Apexis dailies and explorations, or do you think we'll have more normal quest chains? I definitely think it'll be more almost like the Timeless Isle. Like, there'll be quests and there'll be exploration stuff, but I don't think it'll be as based on Apexis dailies, because now I'm seeing that they're doing, like, there's the mount that you can get for Apexis crystals, so I almost feel like it's a dump. Like, if you... Yeah. Right?
I also don't think they want people to be just doing Apexis crystals. Like, that's not very social. I think they'd rather be having people raid for their gear.
Yeah.
I know that they have some of the garrison campaign quests that there's one that has you build a shipyard, but there's others that send you into Tanan to do different things. Mm-hmm. So I think they definitely want people to do those things to expand the story. But I think most of it's going to be stuff like go explore Tanan, like maybe the garrison quest will take you to a cool place in Tanan and then you'll discover like a treasure, next to the quest giver or something, which then makes you do more cool stuff in that area.
Yeah, and then there's another question in chat that says, do you think that ships will be destroyed if a mission is failed?
Yeah, I think that's actually in the data I don't think it's 100%, but there is a chance that they can be destroyed.
That's hardcore. Like,
yeah.
Is there a non-hardcore mode? I don't want to send them out with the potential to be destroyed.
I guess
then you're gonna have to invest to rebuild them and stuff?
Yeah, I guess that's why if you look at the tooltips, they'll be like, oh, you can buy this item and it stacks up to 5. And it's like, well, you might be using this item to give your ship a trait multiple times because it might be in a shipwreck somewhere.
Oh my gosh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not tough enough for that. I'm going to scroll through chat and see if there's any other questions that we may have not caught. I saw a couple on the post from last week. Give me just Perk, you fill some time right now and I'll find some questions.
Okay, so one thing I was going to mention, which I don't think I did, was that all of this data stuff we're talking about is obviously on Wowhead, and it's always just a nice reminder that we have a special PTR database set up just for the PTR info. And we totally love comments and screenshots of things you find on the PTR. So, even if something isn't live yet, if you post something like, hey, the legendary pets are all here, or I got this toy, I want to post a picture of the spotlight. We love stuff like that. Yeah. So, don't be scared. You can put all that stuff. If you don't see something on the database, make sure that you're going up to that search box at the top right and clicking on the word PTR, because that will add in a bunch of like new spells and achievements and things that we don't want you seeing on live because it could be confusing. So that's my little plea to... I want to see what the Dazzling Rod looks like. Yeah. I want to see pictures of the new battle pets. I want to see the left shark.
It's a very community-based website. It's not one person running the show. You run a lot of the show, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of people that contribute, and you guys can contribute as well if you have screenshots, even of like gear, even if you're like transmog, like if you're wearing a full transmog set, like you can submit your screenshot to that to that Transmog Sets page. There was a question that says, I may have misunderstood it from the video, but do you need to complete the entire 12-week chain of Garrison campaign quests in order to have access to the Tanaan jungle? I faction changed and it reset all of my quests.
So the wording in the patch notes made it seem like it was the continuation of the chain, but I want to check with Blizzard because the character that I'm using for testing did that chain, so I'm like, oh, obviously I can just start on this
hard
quest.
To tell. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, maybe only one character has to do it and you have the achievement done, but yeah, I mean, I know they want it to be, obviously they want you to do some work for it if, like the Shipyard is for the Legendary quest line and you have to do the Shipyard to get to Tanaan, but I don't,
so
it might be
that
me.
was the next question I was actually going to ask.
Okay.
Someone asked if the Shipyard is the only way to get to Tanaan, if you have to build the Shipyard first in order to access Tanaan.
Yeah.
See, that's
The patch
interesting
notes,
because we've been
it's
saying...
it's game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we've been saying that Tanaan can be used kind of as a catch-up zone, almost in the way that the Timeless Isle was, or that there would be some mechanics in there of. But if you have to do all of the Garrison campaign quests in order to do the Shipyard, in order to get to Tanaan, that's sort of a weird step if it was intended to be any sort of catch-up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the Shipyard, if the Shipyard gives you 640 gear, that is pretty cool for a catch-up.
Oh, that's true. That's a good
But yeah,
point.
we'll have to see how it works. Like, it's all pretty incomplete. Maybe if you do it on one character, it will unlock it on the rest of the
that'd be
characters or
nice.
something.
That'd be
I mean,
nice.
I think they do want it to be more alt-friendly, so I don't think, hopefully they won't do anything too mean to people while making the early users feel special that they, have this extra reward for doing it.
Yeah, someone else suggested, and this isn't really much of a question, but someone else suggested that we be able to name our own ships.
Oh, that would be so cool. I would
Wouldn't
love
that
to
be
do
neat?
that. Like
I'd
battle
name all my
pets.
ships Blorp.
Oh, yeah, just speaking of models again, I was very sad that the moth ship,
I know.
obviously the ship, there was like a flying moth ship for the Draenei, and obviously it could not be a flying moth, but I was very sad to see it just was a wooden boat.
Yeah, well, hopefully, those might be placeholders, because it's pretty early still. Well, who knows? Who knows with Blizzard? Be out next week. But, they could just be placeholders, because all of those ships were just added in the last couple of days, so I'm hoping. That'd be cool. Because it'd be so neat if those ships, like, even, there was another one that was, like, Fizzwigs or Fizzgigs and then something else, and I was like, anticipating it being a goblin ship, and it was just a boat.
Who were you really excited to see show up as a ship? Like, I was excited to see the Spirit of Aberdeen boat, and some of them I thought were, like, really funny names.
I'm actually really excited about the Valera ship, to be honest. Like, I know that she technically shouldn't be Horde, but she's so cool. Like, she's such a badass. Like, I'm really excited about her ship. And I'm really excited about Tyran's ship, too, even though it's Alliance.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Sunwalker Desco ship, even though he's a Tauren, obviously. But his storyline, it was really sad and missed, and... yeah, I'm just happy to see he's
the one with
doing
the baby, right?
Yeah.
I hated that story.
That's
It
right.
made me sad. It's not very often in WoW that you're like, oh, what's happening? No, oh no, this is his wife. Like, yeah, that was really sad. I am excited that he's getting a ship. He deserves more than a ship. He went through a hard time. So I'm going to check chat and see if there's any other questions that are coming in. And if not, we'll probably wrap this up. We talked about all sorts of stuff. We talked about Tier 18. We talked about the new PvP gear. All of that you can check out at wowhead.com. We talked about ships
Professions.
and the shipyards and the professions. I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but Fellblood comes from the barn. I know. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And
we don't know we don't know who you trap yet.
oh, it'll be someone all new and felly. It has to be someone felly in the Tanaan jungle. Someone who's all not supposed to be green, but is green. You know the little corrupted wolf pup pet?
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be a big corrupted wolf. Someone just asked us in chat, is there going to be a way to hand in Apexis crystals in exchange for garrison resources?
Oh, I would love that, but I don't think there is.
See, I'm a terrible player. I like get on and I raid and stuff, but I haven't really done anything involving Apexis crystals because I get gear from raiding, and it's all of the quests are so... I did them for like a week. I did them every single day, and I was over it very quickly. So the only Apexis crystals that I get are like from garrison missions, and then I use them to buy seals.
I am looking something up quickly because there was a currency thing. I should mention that I don't think I did mention about Hellfire Citadel. Okay, so the bonus roll currencies for Hellfire Citadel are in, and it's called the Seal of Inevitable Fate. And pretty sure everyone assumed that another currency was coming for tier 18,
Yeah.
but just when you mentioned the currency thing, I'm like, oh, we actually got this in the data. Let me just say the name and that it's official. We have this currency now.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And I wonder if you'll be able to get, like, when the new seal mechanic came out in Mist, you could get as many as you wanted of the old seal, right?
Yeah, they raised the cap on that.
Yeah. That's cool.
But yeah, I'm also curious what's going to happen to the Dwarven Bunker and the War Mill, because they would give you the free bonus roll for the tier 17 currency. Are they going to upgrade that for tier 18?
Or is there going to be
that's
a
powered?
ship something? Is there going to be
Yeah.
something in the shipyard that does that?
Yeah, I mean, there were several garrison missions that gave you seals as well, so we're going to get something upgraded for that too. So,
yeah, and you know, that
pretty
makes
interesting.
me wonder too, because I had seen that there was possibly going to be a seal coming out of the Time Walker dungeons.
Right.
Is it going to be the new seal or the old seal? Do we know?
Yeah,
Because if it's
I
an
don't
old
know.
seal, that's not that great of a reward.
Yeah, I mean, so this weekend I like hopped on the PTR and I'm like, okay, these weekend events, where are they? And I didn't see anything in the calendar
Yeah, they weren't
about
ready
it,
for testing yet, probably.
or like any prompt
Bummer.
telling me that I should do something cool. So I was sad, and obviously I'd like to know what all the events are.
I'm sad too. I'm excited though. There's so much cool stuff. I think time walking dungeons are still what I'm most excited for in 6.2, even though we haven't actually seen them in testing, and even though, you know, they might not have the greatest rewards. I just think they're going to be really fun to do. I'm excited about the Mythic 5-mans as well, because I am in a guild that everybody's like friends with each other, which means that we're not, you know, mean when people don't show up.
Right.
Which leads us to really struggling getting into Mythic, not because of gear or skill, just because we don't always have 20 people on to raid. So we do Heroic every week. So I'm excited that we will have that 5-man Mythic as another option for playing. We don't need as many people on in order to get into that type of content. I really like
I
that
like
Blizzard's
how it's
doing
different than challenge modes too, how it appears to be difficult, but it's a different type of challenge. How, you know, in challenge mode, certain classes might be better, and you're trying to race to get
Yeah, and
time.
challenge modes are also, like, sometimes there'll be, like, a blue trinket that is better than, because all of your scales, so you're looking for, like, specific things, and there's a very, very strategic mindset to go into challenge modes. It's not just about 100% pure skill. It definitely, like, the really, really good players all have, like, a separate set of challenge mode gear that they use for when they're running challenge modes. And I think that the Mythic will be interesting because you should be able to use your raid gear.
Right.
So-
I mean, there's no scaling down or anything.
yeah,
Well,
there's no
obviously
scaling.
the bosses hit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm pretty excited about that. I think that's going to be really, really fun. It's something I'm really looking forward to. What about you?
So I'm looking forward to Tanan and the exploration a lot. I had a lot of fun seeing all the different like ecosystems and habitats on the island so far.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna just be exploring, doing all the treasures, even some of the jumping games. And I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun building ships and
Yeah.
customizing them to have, you know, the traits that I like, or
The
collecting
all-night
all
elf cruise.
yeah, the whole like night elf crew, and like, you know, maybe like the Chen boat, because that's funny.
Because
and,
that's funny.
yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's like Chen's floating brew, and I'm just like,
Now-
I don't know about this one.
We got a couple questions in chat. Do we know if the if the 5-man Mythic dungeons are going to be available for Cross Realm?
I'm not sure yet. I think if anyone, I mean, it would either be in the patch notes or Halinka would know about it.
Mhm.
I don't think there's been a ton of testing with the Mythic dungeons yet.
Yeah,
but
not yet.
yeah, I just mentioned I know Halinka does PvP, but he does a lot with the group finder, which is why his name popped into my head.
Yeah, yeah.
To confuse people with. No, it's not tied to PvP.
Well, I think today went pretty well, and if you guys have any questions that you would like us to answer next week, this will be uploaded on YouTube on Saturday, so make sure to check out the VOD. Leave us a question there. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a question in the comment section below if you'd like us to answer it next week. I think we're about ready to wrap it up, so I hope that you enjoyed today's show. Be sure to check back next Friday and every Friday for future episodes of Wowhead Weekly. We stream at about 6 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/wowhead. I've lost my ability to speak. I think this is a great time to go.
Yes.
Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Hey.